Welcome back to the CCL. Got a new face on here. Got Colin Moore with me this time. A cute little sexy man as he is. Syracuse Orange, though, and the Carleton Ravens, ranked at number 20, will be the two teams that we have for our best of 5 here in match 2. 9-2 are the Carleton Ravens this season, Colin. You got a chance to actually talk to some of these players before the game, though. They feel confident.
They do. I think that for Carleton, this is one of the seasons for them where, they break back into the top 25. And they said it themselves, this is the best season they've had since the days of 47 and Hawk, which, might I remind you, they got top 8 back in Cold War. So to see Carleton Ravens climb the way that they are again here in the 2025 season, it's nice as a Canadian to see them up 9-2.
Well, we know how we feel about Canadians here in the United States as of late, but hey, I'll keep you a spot open at my house just in case you need one, all right? I got you, my cutie boy. All right, 9-2 for the Ravens, as we said beforehand. 11-4 on the hardpoint record, though. 9-3 in S&D, 8-3 in the control. Obviously, on paper, these are looking much, much more stout than the Syracuse Orange on the opposite end, but the Orangemen have had themselves a decent season. And I will say, again, talking to those players before the game, Colin, these guys seem like some vibers.
They do. I think that for Syracuse, it's just a matter of can they beat the better team one of these days. I think they said one of their issues is that they just haven't been able to kind of break past those top-level teams. The teams that are just on the verge of being above them, and Carleton Ravens are going to be one of those teams for this division, and kind of that makes this a very important transitional part for Syracuse Orange heading into the restructure. Is that if you can't beat Carleton Ravens, then it's one of those situations of where do you end up in the bracket by the time this is done. So this is one of those important matches for them to see just how good they can be against a team like this. And with the way that they're looking and the way that they're talking to me and kind of explaining things, is that they're trying to switch things around with some new roles where they're switching BCL over to an SMG for the first time in his career. So I'm going to see if that pays out, to see if they can switch these records around.
Yeah, we're hoping so for the Orangemen. I will say, those losses that they played, some of them a little bit closer than others. I think against, you have the Fisher Falcons on there. You have Farmingdale State there too. Ottawa for the Garnet roster on that school. And all 0-3 losses. Realistically speaking, hard points were pretty close against the two of those teams. Obviously, the Fisher Falcons, when you're talking about playing those guys in any sort of series, it is going to be a struggle. They are our #1 ranked team for a reason. So as much as I want to say in the Northeast Atlantic that it's open for even potentially Carleton to be able to climb the rankings a bit higher, nobody really is going to be able to take on the Fisher Falcons, at least in the regular season. As we get into the deeper portions of the playoffs, though, they don't necessarily become weaker, but it becomes more likely that we will have a team that could upset them. In our best of 5 series, though, we'll start with the Skyline Hardpoint. We'll go to a protocol search and destroy, and for our guaranteed 3, we'll start ourselves on a vault control. Rest of that, Colin, Hacienda and vault search and destroy could play in the hands of the Syracuse Orange, though. I like their chances if they can push this past 3.
Yeah, I think the most important maps you're going to be looking at here are the Skyline Hardpoint and the vault control that we're getting in the first 3. Skyline being, and I like that you were talking about Fisher Falcons, one of the maps that Carleton Ravens actually took the Fisher Falcons the distance on. It was 250 to 230 loss for Carleton, and I think that that's something where you see a team like Carleton and they can play Fisher that close on a map like this. That is a scary prospect for one of these teams in the division, and kind of one of those reasons why they would be in the top 25, showing just how skilled they can be. But for the other side, for Syracuse, this map mode combo, 224 to 250 versus Ottawa Garnet, 146 to 250 versus CMCC. I mean, you can see that they're struggling against teams lower than Fisher Falcons in the division, and I think that's where they might struggle to open up this series. However, you look into what comes after this, the protocol search and destroy, and from what Carleton is telling me, that they've been struggling in the search and destroys, and it's one of the things that they're looking to improve during the restructure. So possibly that's where Syracuse can get their get back if they fall here on the Skyline Hardpoint.
No, Skyline Hardpoint, everybody loves it. Some love it, some hate it, but it's how well you can kind of confine yourself to the utter chaos that this map can allow for at times. Who will be able to dominate that halfway mark on the map? Who can keep one team further past? We'll have to just wait and see what Syracuse Orange can do, but off the rip, that's not a great look. A lot of teams will try to push a couple players into the gym side when they're spawning on the P4 side. At that time, Carleton, much aware that that was going to be a play read perfect.
And I think for Carleton, to get some early time here on P1, they got the better sides as well. You can already see the Orangemen are trying to flip things out. Bombi being in particular, he's going to pull those spawns over to the P2 side. You can see that the Ravens are hunting. They've recognized this right away. Still soaking up time at P1. Still find the kills as well. I mean, this is as good as a start as it gets, Court.
Big Bane looking out towards the white staircase side with 20 seconds left. All attention will be on those P2 spawns. You see a drop down over by the kitchen lane. Ailey for a moment looked a bit shaky. Has another one trying to plow his way forward as well. You need to be careful if you are the Carleton Ravens. Bad odds right now of being able to get flipped out, and I believe they might just do so on the back end to spawn. Still a player gets through, though, so looking for Celion. 5'10" and 235.
And there are just players all over the map right now. I feel like there's just no rhythm to the Skyline at the moment. Still Carleton, though, with a 40-point lead, and somehow the Orange Men do get in. It's just, can you hold this hill? The answer, no. And take a look at player number 7, McBain. He's going to be top bedroom, just poking at these players, trying to get into the hill. He falls, and that's going to be numbers now for Syracuse, trying to get this break, which they will end up doing. 35 seconds. This is a good time for Syracuse, but not able to take Chip in the back, and suddenly BCL is the only one here. I just feel like Syracuse just can't get a solid setup on these hills.
I mean, well, most of the time it's just Carleton overpowering them. Even if they do spawn across the map or the close spawns are there, they just find different angles to find their way through, so they're able to get behind a few of the Syracuse roster. So it's been a pretty well thought out start from Carleton here thus far. Nothing that you really can complain too much about. And again, what I mentioned at the beginning, it's just keeping yourselves on one side of the map and making sure that other team can't push past the 50-way mark, and that's exactly what they've done.
And one of the more important things is pre-rotating, and that's what Syracuse are setting up here for P3, trying to find those important fights. Unfortunately, Starry with a major gunfight there. 3 down again in the feed, flips the spawns, and this 70-18 lead. Immediately, Carleton gonna hop this time, and they got the spawns, they got the setup, and they even got Chip sitting P1.
Chip does get knocked down, though, so there goes your contestant player. Cross from P1 is going to allow Syracuse to have a better angle, trying to push their way forward for the fight. Unfortunately, though, the spawn close over by Hedges is going to allow these players from Carleton to be in close proximity to this P3 hill. The last player you had for Stevo is going to be forced to back off as the reinforcements over from the grill side are starting to make their way forward. And as Celion's able to find one, the hill was vacated for just a moment. Still, though, it's all white in the kill feed for Carleton.
Yeah, and with 20 seconds, you have a big rotation coming out from Stevo, but he's going to go down, or it's BCL to the top side of bedrooms, trying to just stay alive for this rotation over towards P4. Carleton have the spawns in the back, so I'd like to see the Ravens take this slow and steady. They do have winner's advantage. They don't have to rush things for this setup. They play a little bit of TDM before hopping this time, because Stevo has found his way through. Starry's going to get rid of him. Unfortunately, getting traded out by BCL, but you still got the spawns in the back for Carleton. Should be able to fight this one.
Just depends on how quick you're going to get there. And as those players push that right side of the map out, Syracuse is going to get those squad spawns on top of them. So that allows them to take things over for a moment. Starry on the back end, though. Going to be the first one here to cause some trouble. Ailey on the top end, trying to find the top and high end before they start to push themselves down low into the bathroom. The P4 hill still sitting orange for the time being, but Ailey on the slide challenge forward compared to the back end of Starry's 2, and McBain with 1 over the top. They get 3 kills to go their way, and Syracuse forced to break back in once again.
Just as quick as Syracuse break that hill, Carleton breaks right back in, just continuing to take time away from the Orange Men. It looks like BCL is going for one last hit for this scrap time. He's got some help too, and Bombi's going to be there for 2. Starry trying to be here to hopefully fend them off. He goes down, so big 3 kills to pick up just a little bit of time, at least at the end of that first set. Not the greatest from the Orangemen, but on the Skyline, we've seen things flip in rhythm a lot sooner times before, and being down 125 to 56, I mean, it's a big lead, but definitely not out of this one if you're the Orangemen, if you can string together a couple of these hills. But you got the better sides of your Carleton, and that's what BCL is going to try to rip away.
Sorry, down low. Contestant in the point. Good shots over the top, using the hot tub as a heady. Celion has full cat control at the moment. So Syracuse do a good job of being able to kind of just surround themselves around the hard point and then jump on top of it for a break. Problem is, though, spawns were kind of flipped across the map. It was this weird split spawn from the Carleton Ravens that forces Syracuse back over to the P2 side. However, they don't have top control at the moment, which is what Carleton is going to be trying to see for.
Yeah, still 17 seconds, and Carleton beginning a lot of time off these P1s. What you like to see out of Syracuse, who are just desperate to get time of their own, but Celion trying to play for those back spawns. He's on 5 in a row. If you can get a Hellstorm, then maybe you can look to having just a little bit in the arsenal for these next couple open hills that you're going to be looking at later on this time. But you got the setup right now, at least the spawns in the back, so this is a good hill that you can get some money time off of if you're Syracuse. You just need the kills, and you don't need to give McBain a double.
He's on the back end too. Could find himself 3, but it's his teammates who suffice for it. So as you go back to the white stairs, you're looking to the back end. You know somebody could have gotten through kitchen. You have 2 players from Syracuse down below. And the push back through middle map. McBain on 3 in a row. Looking for more. Wants to fly up the staircase. Oh, he uses the camera to perfection. 170 to 68, 100-point margin here for the Carleton Ravens. There's nothing they can't do.
I mean, this is a team, Carleton, of some young guns between Ailey and Starry, and they're letting it know in terms of the pacing here. I mean, Starry just always running amok throughout the map. I mean, this is a guy who, when you're asking on me, he got recruited here to be a frat brother with McBain. You know these guys are close. You know they're going to be playing good, and right now, together, they're frying.
Celion, the player behind. Timing good for a moment. Jump challenge back. Wins it by Ailey. McBain will find another two-piece on the opposite side of the map, holding down P3 in its initial time. Still continuing to grow out their lead almost to the 200-point mark, and you've got that contestation over by P1 for the crosses that are going to come through. Mid-map should be locked down, and McBain can just focus his eyes on the front where they're pushing in from the grill inside. Steve-O in for a trade. Syracuse will be there. Starry almost pops to the second, but it's 2-2 that go the way of Carleton, and once again, they reclaim P3.
They do. They're set up 3 players inside as well. Celion's over towards P1. He's got some good shots there. Takes 2 down. Needs some help to find this break, but Ailey's did a good job at just holding this time. He's got the players off spawn as well. The full setup for Carleton's going to get them pretty close to a win. You don't have the spawns for P4, but with the way that Carleton has been breaking, I mean, this is just, it looks impossible if you're Syracuse right now, Corn.
Turn back around, Starry lays down, has teammate help from McBain, and he's got the AR once again in his hands. Looking over the top, Celion's able to pop yet another 2 kills. He has been a shining spot for the Syracuse roster alongside with Steve-O, but Bomby and BCL could use a bit of a buff. Going into P4 on the break here. Not very close to this stretch of the imagination as BCL flies his way forward. Guess who it is? Starry and Ailey pairing once again with the ARs. Doesn't matter what guns they have out, they are frying Syracuse into map 2.
Yeah, so 13 seconds. You got to go. Celion outside looking in. Some good shots there, but nade from McBain. Starry in behind. He's going to slide through. How much damage can he do? Spawns in the back for Syracuse. At least you're going to have a little bit of a setup, but again, just 3 go down. You're sliding in for what seems to be the end game right now. Ailey around the back. Hey, Carleton, they were in and they're ready to put it away.
Flip across the map. Bomby at the front door trying to slide through the closet. Will think better of it. Rewrap over towards the bedroom. But guess what? Ailey's looking at it. AR sub. What again can he not do? Celion will try to find one, but Carleton will sit in the hill. 100-point club here in map 1 as the Ravens take a 1-0 series lead.
Directly on the 100 points too, and it just felt like since the beginning Carleton were running away with this map. The rotations were good, getting a lot of time off of P1 and P3, and for P2 and P4 they were keeping it scrappy. And I think every single time that you did see Syracuse into the hill, I mean, they were getting what, like maybe 10-15 seconds max off of it before Carleton were able to break back in. And you had players like Starry and Ailey who just constantly were finding 3 pieces in the feed, or at least double kills at times, to make sure that you're just never in a full setup if you're Syracuse. And just look at those numbers as well. 2,900 damage from McBain, 3,000 from the top player there. So everybody involved with the damage, and it shows in the numbers too. Just that was a blowout from the beginning.
And you can see that funnel getting wider and wider as it goes up. The one thing you don't ever want to see is a tornado, and that's what they got there. So, map 1, Carleton Ravens. All right, number 20th ranked at 9-2. We said, hey, is Syracuse a team that is going to be causing trouble later on in the year? At least on a Skyline Hardpoint where they played the Fisher Falcons close. That is not the case. But going forward in the rest of the series, I did like what I saw out of Steve-O. I like what I saw out of Celion. Both of those players paired pretty well against one another as kind of like a counterpart opposites for each of these 2 teams. I want to see that battle continue, but I want to see Syracuse, I want to see BCL, and I want to see the other player who had a rough start in map 1 there, just be able to kind of slow the series down, Bomby, excuse me, slow the series down, be able to get their feet back under them, and go into the S&D with a clear mind. Obviously, a Skyline Hardpoint, it's one of those maps where you kind of gauge the rest of the series based off of it. It goes back to what we said in Vanguard. You know, you base that first map of a bocage for the rest of the series to see how teams are going to be able to counteract up against one another. I think for the most part, what Syracuse showed in map 1 was just an unpreparedness for the Carleton Ravens and the pushes they wanted to throw out. I don't necessarily think it ever caught them off guard. I genuinely just think that it was always a 2v4 on the hills because BCL and his teammate just weren't able to get around the hill all that much. That's pretty much as simple as it is, I feel, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, and when they were, you're down to like your last life as well, just one player up, or, you know, trying to play for those back spawns, and you had somebody on Carleton just popping off a big double kill to make sure those spawns never really broke, or towards P4, you're just getting forced in those back spawns, but you can't get any heal time. It was just a losing fight there for Syracuse Orange. They could never find their footing. And Search and Destroy, this could be a whole separate, talking point in being that, Carleton, they've spoken and they've said that they want to improve their S&D. Obviously, it's been a little bit shaky this season. Fortunately enough, you're going to a protocol Search and Destroy where you're 2-0 if you're Carleton, and Syracuse are 0-1. But this is where, if you're Syracuse, you feel you really got to set up. Step up in terms of this series, because you go to that vault control, it's next, and it just gets even worse for you, where you're 1-4 and Carleton are 5-2. So with the edge throughout the entirety of these first 4 maps, Carleton are feeling good, but for Syracuse, you feel like your only chance in extending the series is going to come down to these search and destroys, and if you can kind of steal these ones away from Carleton. And I like what you're saying there, slow it down, look for your subs to kind of take off, find those opening first bloods, and if BCL and Bombi can really take some heat in this game and get going, then potentially you could see Carleton start slowing down, because when it came down to it back in that map number 1, it was the takeover of the subs that really felt like it was suffocating for Syracuse. So you're looking at those subs to step up here in map 2.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was going to be what I was going to kind of bring the conversation to next, is for Bombi and for BCL. They were kind of MIA on the Hardpoint, and those are your 2 subs. Like your ARs, they were playing fine. It wasn't really a conversation of if Carleton was kind of outbesting you in every way. But what we saw from anybody, but specifically Starry and A-Leib with the SMG duo there wasn't much that they weren't able to get done on the map. They were able to get behind enemies when they wanted to. If they needed to flip the map out for a P2 hold, they were absolutely able to do that. And I think one of the best displays that we saw was on the back staircase over on P2 on White Stairs when they were in that first initial hold on the first set of rotations. Ever since that moment where it was the close slide chow, they broke the camera and they were able to run through that P2 into P3, tag both of those times for basically 40-50 seconds a pop. It felt like that map was pretty much unwinnable for Syracuse. So going into the S&D here, yes, to your point, I think the SMG duo from Syracuse with Belpy and for BCL need to have an impact on the map, whether that's getting down underneath into the A-bomb site and being able to disrupt that P4 part of this map. Awesome. If they can do that, I think things change up a bit. But if we don't see a change of that, and Alien Starry are continuing to pair together in a nice complementation of one another, I don't see a world that Syracuse takes this S&D.
Well, starting off on the defense for the Orangemen, this is a team that we just saw at the Old Dominion LAN just over the weekend, where they placed 3rd, losing to UCF twice in that game, beating everybody else that they came up against. So see if Search and Destroy is something they got a lot of practice on over the past couple of days. Well, that's a good start that you're looking for from who else? The ARs really stepping up for those first bloods. But take a look at the map, Corn. Haley dropping that bomb over towards B, and the post plan of Carleton over towards B1.
That's the vice, right? You send so much pressure onto A because you think the offensive team is going to attack there. Instead, they just flip the map out when they understand that the pressure from the defense is going to be there, and they make their way over to B. Good news, though. Steve will find a second kill here in the round for Syracuse. That forces a 2-4 situation. With 30 seconds left, Chip inside of the helicopter will lay down for just a moment. Has players starting to surround him. A-Leib finds one. Bombi on the P1 head. He's going to be able to find him back, and with 22 seconds left, it should be a consolation there at the end, and it will be for Celion, who finds himself 2 in the round. Bomb defused. Round win for Syracuse.
And Chip does a good job there. Actually makes it look possible for a second, just staying alive inside the helicopter. Maybe if Ailey had that turn on over towards P1, then you have some safety there in the post plant. But it really felt like the Orangemen did a good job at just spreading the map and taking some power positions to get that retake going. And I think I saw Steve-O taking out a Jackal too. So possibly just switching some roles over. Maybe BCL going back to the AR to find some comfort, and Steve-O pulling out that SMG to just get a little bit more pace going. And Steve-O is the one to actually take down that player who is holding all the way towards the back grandmas, which really leaves Ailey and Chip alone. So I like that from the Orangemen, just making sure that you're giving no options for Carleton to have some safety in the post plants, and kind of just holding them into a crossfire.
I also love that you brought up the comfortability of each of the players on Syracuse, and I think that's exactly why Steve-O has that SMG out now. But he does get picked off first after the first blood had come through last time from Celion. So you look to Syracuse now with the bomb in their hands, stagnated across the map. You can see the spread that Carleton has. Ooh. Really no in over towards A or B. You would have loved to have that if you were BCL, but you're still going to be playing down in a man situation. So with 55 seconds left in the round, it looks like Celion wants to drop down. He's just looking for somebody, but they're itching to get up the map.
You don't want to go over towards A, because all 3 of the members for Syracuse right now have aims in their hands. I mean, this is a triple AR setup for the attack, which is really going to stunt you if you do want to drop down into the pits, that is A. I mean, you'd love to have an SMG, but look at this play from Starry. He's just going to overextend all the way through Banana, and nobody's watching it. That's bomb down. They know where BCL is. He's got no exit strategy here, so he's just going to run out to his death. And Carleton with a quick answer back, taking that first blood and really giving nothing out. I'm not a big fan of the way that Syracuse played that, switching to 3 ARs on the attack. That kind of just... It just goes to show that they want B to be their end game.
Yeah.
But they just have no map positioning through mid to make that happen.
Well, that all falls in the back of Stevo, right? Because if Stevo's able to push up with the SMG through middle map, get one, then you can start making your way forward. After that, though, when he goes down, you're completely stunted, and that goes directly into the play of having those ARs out to play B. So I think you called that correctly. But going back to an offensive round here for the Carleton side, the last time you sent all 4 players over to A, you really only had 1 player watching middle as a consolation. This time, it's going to be the correct call. Oh, but the Dolphin dive over the railing will get Starry up to 6 kills in a row, working his way on towards a Hellstorm. You got everybody inside of the site. BCL falls off the map. I think he was trying to make an outer route of no man's. That is a flawless wipe round from Syracuse, or excuse me, from the Carleton Ravens. That is...
Okay.
Yeah. It's a round.
I mean, that is truly fearless at a start. I don't usually see players dolphin dive out of P2 and catch the timing through Big Door, but hey, I mean, to each their own. He gets it done.
I think the gravitational pull of his nutsack is what pulled him down to the ground as fast as it did there to get him there too.
Big ol'. I'm not even gonna go there.
That's a kahuna play right there.
Oh, yeah.
That's what that is.
6 in a row too, by the way, for Starry. He's feeling it right now. So how do the Orangemen bring it back? Well, this time they're going to hit it play outer. If they're running this triple aims again, they want to take these battles head on, but Chip finds an angle into BCL. First blood, and Celion goes down again. And this is a stalled out attack for sure.
Oh, ripped off, though, by Stevo. Starry will fall, who was on 7 in a row. So all you come away with is an RC car. You don't get that Hellstorm. Bomb will go down on A. And in this post-replan here,
no trophies.
You got no trophies. You got util to use. Ailey will weaken up a few, force them out of where they want to be playing at. But you got to start making this push forward. You got 2 players coming in from no man's. You have Ailey as the consolation here inside of the spiral staircase, but Bombi's able to find one, just caught sprinting around the corner. McBain on the outside. Here comes the push in on the right-hand side. Can Bombi find 2? Answer no. Stevo in a 1 versus 2. Has the player over to the right-hand side, slides in, gets away with his life. 14 seconds remain, almost snaps onto the second, but it's a retake from Ailey that was played oh so well. Carleton get back on the site and they win the round.
Stevo plays that as good as he could. I thought for a second he pulled the knife out. I'm like, if you turn that corner, Ailey, you're a dead man. He's gonna shank you, and there's nothing you can do about it. But Ailey plays his distance. He knows he had the tag, so it's just a matter of time. Plenty of time too to get that defuse. So a lovely retake, but even still, I mean, in a 4v3, it turned into a 4v2. That is as good as it really gets. If Bombi finds that second kill onto McBain, who was sliding in outer, that was a very doable round. But unfortunately, Bombi was just never truly able to fully regen his life. And I think for the Orangemen, this is a close search and destroy, but it's rounds like that you just need to clutch up and keep even, because Carleton are starting to run away with it.
Stevo out middle. On the sidewalk, picks up Starry, caught sprinting over by the pallets. That is exactly what you wanted out of the queues. Stevo will get himself back in the safe harbor of the P3 building. McBain will take the rope down on the drop inside of the A bomb site. Chip is going to be able to find the plant too.
So as soon as this bomb goes down, you plant those trophies as well. And it comes even harder for Syracuse, even with nades and stuns, to retake this one. You're going to need some big plays coming out from Stevo and Bombi just to spearhead this retake.
Ailey forced to back off. Chip with 1. Forces a 3 versus 3. There's not a lot of time to play with here. McBain going to get stunned down on the drop. He knows somebody has to basically fly through the elevator. Instead, it's going to be a reroute from Celion. Back out towards no man's land. Trying to fly other way on in. Bombi's able to find 1. 13 seconds left. 7.5 they need on the defuse. Chip is still alive in the corner. 9 seconds remaining. BCL, you have to push it forward. And with the pistol, he makes it stick. Oh, Lord have mercy.
Oh my goodness, Cord. I mean, I'm face palming just watching that one. A team kill, and you just rush him. Just rush him. Hey, 9 seconds, and BCL shallowed him with a pistol at that point. Chip, he knows he's got him beat. That is a round that Syracuse should have had, but it takes a little too long to get that retake going, and really down to the wire. Bombi tried his best. Unfortunately, the team kill comes through, and I like the rewrap from Celion to play through Big Tor with the rest of the team, but that is a heartbreaker for sure. So back onto the offense, and why not just bang out A at this point? Everything else has been falling apart.
Stevo survives the drop with 9 HP, taking off. 94 now tagged up left side. Ailey's able to find one with the nade. Trades it out on Stevo. 2v2. McBain laying down. Knows that these last two players basically have to be playing on the shaft. Chip is going to go ahead. Hop his way up. Then check it. The corner turns back around, and I thought for a moment he might be able to survive. Down below, though.
B.
That should be in the information to McCain that both of them are gone.
At this point, either stall it out or rapid B, but I love this play from McBain. He's just going to hop up the elevator undetected. 1v1 slides out, gets the info, and he's going to play this dance. He's going to give him time. 44 seconds for this all to unravel.
I'm glad Bombi dropped down, too. That was the call that I wanted him to make. He needs to be careful because McBain is on the chase. He's hunting his prey, but instead checks out towards No Man. It's going to be a rewrap. Bombi gets bad timing once again, and from behind, McBain will take him good. 5 rounds now for Carleton Ravens. They'll put themselves on match point here inside of the S&D.
It's like every single play either player made, you're just brushing shoulders against each other. It's frustrating to watch from the desk side because that is the right call for Bombi to make. I mean, 1v1, he slid down to Arcade, dies onto his belly in case McBain chows it. He doesn't, so you drop down to A to get that bomb planted. But McBain was just trailing him the whole time, makes every single timing, wins it, and turns around and just gets the, again, right timing to shoot him in the back there. 5-1 for Carleton. So many rounds coming down to 1v2s, 1v1s, and Syracuse, that is... this is one that you're going to watch back, and honestly, you don't even want to watch this one back the way that it's going because it's going to frustrate you. But last chance for Syracuse on the defense here, and it seems like they're going all in over towards A.
It's not something you hate either because you have to do it. If you give up A, then it looks terrible, and you can't really retake it, as we've seen Syracuse and their inability to do so. Steve will find one, though, pushing up, getting aggressive with the SMG.
Oh, he's deep.
Nestari applies to his way through middle map. He's in bottom grandma's. Trying to even things back out. You know one's bottom elevator. You hop all the way back up. Keep yourself alive. Extend your life just a little bit longer. But the bomb's over by B, and once again, Syracuse have basically just given up the entire site because they think they're going A.
Steve was already back with his team. I mean, he's just running through the map. At least dropping the bomb at B, though. And again, this is kind of like back in round number 1, where the post-plant setup's looking to be through Grannies and P1. But the Orangemen, if they kind of recognize this early enough, I'm looking at Steve-O to try to overextend again, but this is a weird one from Starry.
It is.
He's going all the way around. This is impossible to read.
It's weird from Carleton, too, but it just might work out. You have the RC card. Don't think you're going to use it here. 25 seconds left. You want to check top trips. You got the player come down the staircase. You win the 1v1. 3 players left alive. Defuse now from Bombi.
He's on it.
Ailey hasn't been able to check this out, and they should be able to walk away with the defuse here. They're trying to shoot him, and they get him off just in time. Celion, last alive. 1 versus 2. Can't find the first 8 seconds left, and they're not going to be able to get it. It was a hair away from the defuse coming in. And Carleton, by the will of their own or the magic from the heavens above, make the weirdest retake and wrap back onto B I've seen here on Protocol, and it works in a 3v4.
I swear to God, Corin, 0.01 seconds, and that is a defuse for Syracuse. Again, nail-biting rounds for Syracuse. They just can't ice up and put them away. But on the other side for Carleton, even down First Bloods, even down members, it doesn't matter what happens. They battle back in every single round. You have some big 1v1 clutches out of McBain and Starry. Starry with some sprees as well. He went 6 in a row to open this one up. He had 8 non-traded throughout it. You lose the first round if you're Carleton in the post plants, but every other round, you only lose 3 First Bloods, and you lose no more rounds in general. All of them coming down to kills as well, except for back in round number 6, where you get that defuse in the post plant over towards the A-bomb sites. And Syracuse, man, don't even watch that one back, because that's going to make you mad.
I mean, they respected the chows from Carleton. And a lot of those rounds, that's kind of what proved to be true. Like, unless Steve-O with the SMG was getting up and getting aggressive, trying to find those First Bloods, everything was kind of pacified for Syracuse, and the Orangemen were very, very wary of everything that was happening on the map, because they were just like checking, double checking, triple checking angles, making sure that they weren't going to get a bad timing. And it just felt like they got cooped up to so much of an extent where they just didn't have an ability to play the rest of the map out in that search and destroy. There were plenty of times where I saw, you know, somebody in the back end being like, okay, well, we got, like, especially on the defense, they're like, okay, we got to stick to A. Nobody went out on an exit to go check. They had plenty of opportunity to do that. Not only did they only hold down A and kind of just play around each other in a very small quadrant of the map, but not only, again, they left the entire B side open. That's flank central. That's flank city. You send somebody through middle map or over through AA gun on P1, they're behind you for free. Sure, you can get the bomb down. You can go ahead and get a 2-piece off of that. And somehow, some way, again, credit where credit's due for Carleton in that 3v4. That was one of the most unorthodox, like, B-site holds I've seen in a minute. And again, you called it perfectly. Syracuse, we're not ready for it, and who would be?
It's just unreadable. It's unreadable at that point. And it just kind of goes to show what this Carleton roster told us, Corn, going into this game is they're a versatile team. You know, each player just has it in them to hit those flanks, hit those routes whenever they want to. You know when you need to hold. You know when you need to be the player to make that play. And we see it in that last round. McBain and Starry both are the ones to just hit that unorthodox route, pull a fast one away from Syracuse, and just put the nail in the coffin for this series. Syracuse, I mean, they said to me that, you know, they've been playing series close. They've had a couple 3-0s that they feel like they should have won. This one's not going to look like that if the stats continue to look the way that it is, especially with the vault control coming up next, where you're 1-4 and Carleton are 5-2. It looks like everything's going in the favor of the Ravens for a 3-0 tonight.
Well, if you want to play Swift on the map, Colin, and you want to be able to dolphin dive off of a ledge over into the bottom of the site like A-Lee did there in that search and destroy for a 2-piece, well, then I've got the recommendation for you. Obviously, to play like the best, you have to play with the best. Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College COD. And again, those paddles on the back, they will help you do exactly what A-Lee did beforehand. It just makes the game feel so much smoother. So once again, head to scuff.co/collegecod and dominate the competition with the brand new Valor Pro. Scuff, the exclusive controller partner of College COD. That being said, we've got a 2-0 lead for the Carleton Ravens, and it's looking like it could be a DoorDash 3-0 series. On the opposite side of a break, we will see control in a map where Syracuse look to extend the series. Well, maybe it hasn't been the exact series that Syracuse Orange have wanted to put forward against the Carleton Ravens, but on the flip side, for the 9-2 20th ranked Carleton roster, I think this is exactly the match that they wanted to show out for us here on the main broadcast. We've seen 2 maps already, a 250 to 100 point Skyline Hardpoint, and of course that Protocol 6 one that we just finished up there in that S&D. Colin, it has been kind of a mixed bag of feelings for the Syracuse roster. There's been some moments where we were like, okay, I'm fully on board with the plan here. Then there's been other times where it feels like their apprehensive gameplay has been a hindrance to them in more situations than one. How are we feeling going into this vault control? What's the vibe check?
Sometimes it just feels like Syracuse are beating themselves more than Carleton's beating them. I feel like every single time Carleton is just getting the timing, possibly Syracuse a little on edge in some of those 1v1, 1v2s that we saw in Protocol Search and Destroy. But for Vault Control, I mean, this is one of those maps that you can spawn trap the other team in constantly. And, you know, you start on the defense, possibly if you're Syracuse, you get things going and you kick into gear. You keep Carleton at bay, and you try to at least bleed things into that round 5, win out when it comes down to stopping them in the ticks and the segments. And then you're possibly looking at extending this series. It gets a little bit harder going into the Hacienda and then the Volts and Destroy for sure. But for Syracuse, you knew this was going to be hard. I mean, Carleton's number 20 in the top 25 for a reason. And you've been struggling against those top teams. So this is one of those uphill battles that you knew you were punching above the belt for. So you start on the defensive side. If you're Syracuse, this is where you got to see them really step up and put the big boy pants on.
Like the read there from Bombi. Slide challenge in over towards Pillars, and McBain being the last one alive. We'll catch that final player dropping into the bottom side of Vault. BCL, good trade though. So that's going to force Carleton, at least for now, on the offense, to be stalled out for just a bit. You see the wrap over by P2. You got A-Lee trying to make a route all the way in. Steve-O could get caught off on the offense side, and if he pushes too far forward, they might be able to get B off this.
That might have been a red card from Starry, but we weren't watching Starry, so we didn't get to see. So you're safe for now. He's going to be pushing through, looking for that arc control.
Oh, no.
Beep selling out from up there. So you're in a tough spot if you're Syracuse at the moment, losing all your kills. You're getting spawned out towards P4. You got a lot to cover before you can even get back to contesting A. So you see that the most important player right now is going to be Bombi. He gets up top. Can he stop this?
Oh, good shots onto the second. Peppers him up. Teammates have support over on the opposite side. in the closed hall. Cecilian now for the challenge inside of you. Snaps back onto Ailey, but the SMG up close will make the work stick. Last tick of progress halfway through. Chip coming off spawn, trying to help out the rest of the team. They don't want to get pushed too far back in their spawn. They've done a good job at least keeping that spawn trap at bay. The 1 life difference in separation. Offense still trying to hit out this A zone.
It's not Ailey or Starry. It's Chip this time. He's in P4. He pushing those spawns again for the Orangemen away. But fortunately enough for Syracuse, there's 24 seconds. You got numbers on the zone for a second. Chip and McBain going to cut that one down. BCL on the flank. He's got to go big.
Great timing. Able to snap shots on one, doesn't even find the kill all the way through. So this is going to allow them to sit on the B zone. Steve-O from the top of Art and a teammate close in Celion with the AR will at least be able to stop the pressure. But up through the vault, one was able to escape, and then off spawn, a second teammate was there. Snaps in the middle from Bombi. This is the SMG we wanted to see out of him in map 2. He's able to at least stop it for a moment, but Carleton will still be there with players that might be the A zone. One last contestant in.
Steve-O, BCL, 15 seconds. They're back on A, and McBain's going to get a double kill, so A zone's going to get captured a quarter of the way through the second segment at B. You haven't lost your spawn just yet. You got Celion up top, and again, you're getting a route ran by Bombi, so he's again going to be looking to see if he can disrupt.
Trophy gone. Celion, well-placed nade on the zone, wasn't able to weaken up any of the players on it. However, the rest of the teammates from Syracuse that were able to collapse back on B forced the respawns across the map back by ammo. You can see in the top right, all 4 of those white arrows from Carleton starting to fester their way, want to play in towards middle map. They know they have a few players here, but the left side check was not enough. 2 players will fall on the offense once again. Ailey on a flank has slept all the way through.
They didn't see him.
Nobody knows he's here.
When Celion goes down, this is a free flank. Fortunately enough, Celion's going to spawn. He's going to know this one. He spawns out. Everybody should turn around at this point. The communication should know somebody's behind, but Ailey's going to get some free shots. Starry's going to slide the zone. 8 playing 6. Carleton still have a chance to win this offense.
Ailey on the staircase, shots good onto one, halfway through the final tick of progress, up through the top side of Art, and into the vault comes the slide chow. Chip is here, but he's got help from McBain all the way on the back end of Palms on the zone. They can't touch in time. Carleton resurrect an offensive round that looked good on the defense from Syracuse to take a 1-0 lead. And Colin, that flank right there, that is how you play control. You trust your teammates to get the kills. You be proactive. You don't hide.
Yeah, I mean, that's the 3rd time we saw somebody do that, too, from Carleton. It's so annoying when you're playing against a team that just constantly is looking for that last member to overextend and see if you can at least spawn those defensive members as far away from that B zone as possibly they can, and they get it done every single time with success, just drawing those lives away from Syracuse, burning the time, allowing that, just chipping away that progression. And man, Corin, before this, Celion, we were told that this guy thinks he can square up against what were they saying? He can square up against
Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett. He can't even square up against Starry.
That guy's 6'4", 271 pounds. Celion's 5'10", 235. If he thinks he's going to be beating down the helmet bandit, I just don't see it. But
I don't know.
Look, he's got his own battles against Chip. On the backside of line in the staircase, will falter there. Starry up top with 100 HP. He's just trying to look over. I'm pretty sure he knows exactly where BCL is. Surveyed and scouted out the land. There's still players here from Syracuse, but it's 3-1 in the kill feed that goes for Carleton. And McBain knows the last one's on the zone, tries to take out a teammate. He's cracked out.
Yeah, McBain he's a little twisted right now. Still finally going to find Bombi and still going to take down that kill. So that second segment at A, looking to get it neutralized. Look at the arrows from Carleton. They got a line of scrimmage literally set up diagonally through this A zone. Every single kill goes their way. Bombi's the only one left. McBain hunts him down, and you can see those spawns.
Oh, no.
They're not even on either side. They're directly in the back. That's going to tell them they're getting pinched on either end.
That's a full side collapse here. Syracuse, though, done a good job being able to get out. Starry's still alive, but you have the wraparound P2 from Celion. So as you're able to break out back into middle map, you can see one of the players pushing inside of you. That's going to be Steve-O, who finds one, and Bombi's able to tag on a second. 2 lives of separation. Pool side into flank now through lights from McBain. You need to be able to turn around here. Pressure is going to be starting to find its way back, and into the vault. Starry's looking to make a route.
Oh, shark in the water. Oh, and the shark's been seen. Hey, they got a paddle. They're just knocking them in the nose just constantly. 3 down. A's going to get secured. So, hey, what do you know? Cord, you get a second chance here. If you're Syracuse, and see Steve-O's starting to wake up a little bit. He's on 6 in a row. So, looking for those streaks. They're on to B, but trophies out. That's going to stop these nades. That's the important part. Ailey might look to slide this.
2 players on it. Ailey, slide shot left, called it perfect. Headshot helps him out. Bombi still alive, will escape to the vault. Still got a player up through middle map, and Steve-O gets the best of Chip on the timing. So if you're Ailey here, you need to make the challenge stick, and you do just that. 3 players now swarming your front side. You escape to the vault this time. You have McBain up inside top art. Ailey trades out Stevo. Celion will fall, and it's back to the respawn here for Syracuse. 2 lives of separation.
You're walking the tightrope right now if you're Syracuse, because losing that first offense, this feels like a round you need to win. So I'm looking at these players to see if you can catch some of the respawners, see if you can put some kills away, and then pinch the zone together. But Bombi's going to get caught. It's 3 down again. And Starry pushing up towards ammo. That's going to be spawning them deep over towards P2. And possibly draw some of these lives away again. My eyes are going to be on Celion. He's making the full flank around.
Smokes are GA'd, but on the car, that thick black smoke going to be able to at least be a mask for the moment. Stays alive. Is Stevo in the back end spawn. 4 versus 5. Celion looking for a few, but the raid in from Carleton is oh so perfect. It was a bait and switch with Chip coming off the back end to spawn. 3 lives here. Alien middle map. Red out. They know there's going to be a flanking player, but from Palm, Stevo was able to make 1 stick. 3 versus 3. 21 seconds left, but the clock is stalled out. Stevo over by the Palm. Sees McBain up top. Good shots. Will weaken him up. He's got to fly back, but a flank now coming in. Stevo turns around. Looks back to top art. Second tick of progress now locked in.
1v1.
McBain has to make a wrap back around, and in a 1 versus 1, he drops all the way back down, and he chows up on McBain, who's still there with the pre-fire. Carleton win it once again.
Oh, man. That is... Oh, Corn, again, just like after watching the search and destroys come down to 1v1s, 1v2s in nearly every single round, you get a moment like that where McBain... I mean, he stands on business there. And I thought for a second Steve was just going to hit the deck. I didn't know if he had a trophy or not and felt safe really there, but he's nowhere close to you. Play the regen. Why do you chow that? Steve-O may have been feeling himself. I mean, he's 21-10 for Christ's sake, but in that moment, you just got to bite the bullet and hit the deck.
Well, McBain on the opposite end, he's also feeling himself. He's having a wonderful series thus far. And it started in the respawn. In map 1, 22-13 here in the control, basically besting Stevo at the moment. They're dueling it out around the map. Starry, who still is in the single digit, will finally get himself up to the doubles. So he's at 11 kills now as he finds BCL. 2 lives taken off either side at the moment. Syracuse on the defense, wanting to push around. At the moment, Carleton doing a nice job of just trying to keep the map within themselves. They don't want to get spawn trapped. They are watching every lane for where Syracuse could push.
Hear me out, Corn. I mean, you sit here and... Okay. Finally, Bombi's waking up too in the 3-piece section. But you hold Carleton Ravens to maybe 2 or 3 segments in this round. You get a full 6 of your own to win an offense. You go to round 5. That still guarantees you the defense. So, or it still gives you that chance for the defense at least. It's just... I think shutting them down is going to be the hardest part. Fortunately enough, they've been doing a good job. Life lead 23-19. 35 seconds left.
All we really need here is for Syracuse not to collapse, as they have in both the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
It's been self-implosions, round after round, game after game, map after map in this best-of-5 series.
Time after time.
But we have a 5-life difference in separation. B-zone being worked on at the moment. Bombi pushed all the way up on an island. Everybody's spread out right now. Syracuse has a good map spread. The problem is they just need to commit to these gunfights and win them. Celion up close with the SMG will find Starry. Still a lot of separation, but on B, they've got to clear the player out of the card as well.
1 segment, he goes down. Celion needed to find that kill. BCL bottom art, and there's a little bit of a stack on both zones. So double progression happening right now for Carleton in this segment at A as well. You're winning these fights individually across the map. Syracuse just losing everything. Hey, here's the self-implosion you're talking about.
They got a flank coming through, though. Celion in the middle of the map can try to shut down the player on A, but Starry turns around, reads it out well. They at least stop it at B, and Bombi's able to fly back through middle map to clear out A. 14 seconds left. 1 good push from Carleton to get on his own. Celion wants to make sure nobody's pushing up on the right side. McBain thrashed on the top side of the catwalk, and Chip and Ailey are still here trying to tag team it together. They just got to hop the zone, though. Still got a player down below. Red out over by pillars. Trying to turn back around. The contestant in once again. Ailey reads it well, and it's perfect. An extra 60 seconds on the board. Still 5 lives down, but only 1 tick needed to be, and they're on.
Yeah, Steve-O needs to stay alive here. Double stack on. He goes down. Chip just nipping away at those toes, and the stack's here. Nobody's going to touch. And Carleton just stealing away. Where's the defense, Syracuse?
Oh, my lord. The Orangemen, in all 3 rounds of the control, had outlooks towards the end of the round, both times on defense and on their solo offensive push, where it looked like they were going to be able to take the round and tuck it away. They were up on lives. They were slaying out pretty much the entirety of the control. It never felt like Carleton had good map footing. But it's the age-old testament of control. If you lose one gunfight or two in the middle map and you allow a team just a full stack on it, you're probably going to lose the zone. And Carleton, there's not a lot of teams that are better when it comes to playing around one another than the Carleton Ravens. That's exactly why. Syracuse was a team that needed it coming into this to be able to improve to 8-5, better their chances as they get into the conference championships for seeding. That one hurts the soul, the body, the mind, the spirit, and everything that's combined inside of me.
That one hurt me real bad, just watching some of those rounds. And you, two words that you used, Corn, that were perfectly summed up in Syracuse throughout this series: self-implosion. And in that round in particular, I mean, you had a life lead, you had spawn kills, you had subs doing what they needed to do, running routes, finding kills, shooting players in the back, and then just in the blink of an eye, you let Carleton throw that P3 straight over towards that B zone, and everything falls apart. You don't know where to go, you don't know where to dedicate yourself. And I think what Syracuse is really lacking after watching this is just a solid IGL to say, guys, slow down. Let's hit this together. Let's clear this one zone, get some footing, get some balance, and then work from there. So what if we give up A? So what if we give up B? We just need a base of operations to play from it. And it just seemed like there was never one player to really speak up and give them that direction in the map. It was just a whole lot of everything happening everywhere all at once. And Carleton were okay with that. They had players who were just popping off individually, who were able to make those plays in the 1v1s and the 1v2s. And they were just happy to make sure that they could just disassemble Syracuse at every moment.
That was map one's kind of like keys to success, right? It was, hey, survive the chaos. If the map gets chaotic, understand what's happening and be able to tailor that to your game plan. Carleton did that. That's why they won by 150 points. And the Search and Destroy, another map where it can get very chaotic at times, especially if it's an offense attack down towards the bottom A site. They did it again inside of map 2. Map 3 on a vault control. Some people call it a credit map. Other people call it whatever they want to. It was Syracuse who made the most of a lot of those situations where they were causing the chaos on the Carleton Ravens. But all it takes is that one moment, that one opportunity for Carleton just to get together and execute that hit. And that's all control is sometimes. And Syracuse, unfortunately, fall to it 3 straight times in 3 rounds.
Even looking back at it too, round number 2 is a 1v1 between Steve-O and McBain. Round number 3, you had life advantage, you had spawn kills. You look at the Search and Destroy, how many times do you see a 1v1 BCL with the pistol just didn't want to challenge McBain in the clutch 1v2 that he had throughout Grandma's. You always had the ice if you're Carleton. And man, it takes me back too, because Cord, you remember watching this team back in Cold War, the way that they were played. They were an icy team. I mean, granted, they had LaRue and Hawk. Callum was just doing whatever he wanted with that team.
Sure.
Feet kicked up on the desk. But it takes me back watching these Ravens, because they're number 20 now, but they seem to be getting even better every single week.
And that's all you can ask for from the very beginning of the season, Colin. One of the things that we said is like, hey, your performance in week 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. As you start getting into the end of the season, you get more comfortable with the guys that you're going to be playing up with throughout the rest of the year. Slowly but surely, you're going to be able to start understanding the play styles. 1 month, maybe 2 months, but 3, 4 months. I mean, the further you go, the more chemistry you get. Hopefully you start vibing with the guys you're playing with. It seems like Carleton have those vibes between all 4 of the players that are on that roster.
Hey,
and I love what I'm seeing so far.
Nobody remembers the team that was 8-0 in the regular season, stage 1. Everybody remembers the team that makes it the top 8 in the playoffs when they really should not have.
Oh, I can think of quite a few teams that have made some glorious runs in the past, but we'll save that conversation for another time, because right now we're going to step aside. When we come back, we've got one final best of 5 series on for the night. It is going to be the Mustangs roster going up against Rutgers. Hopefully you'll enjoy that best of 5 series. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the CCL.